Ah, there we go. Microphone is on. Otherwise, I'm just talking to myself, and that would be like a crazy person, like I am every time I try and record a video. Hello, chat. How are we doing today? We have a few people. That's good. I'm not necessarily doing this at the best, most optimum time, but it's a good video idea, I thought, and if I have some traction on it, hello, then it should be okay for people on the VOD. The VOD being when it's a video. How's the background music? Is it audible and existing? It's not existing. How's this now as background music? Do we have background music now? We might have background music now. Okay. Many hellos, many hellos. There be music? Wonderful. If it gets too loud, just let me know. You're surviving work. That's okay. As long as you can work and also listen to a vampire talking about Warhammer, then everything should be fine. Or it can be Friday afternoon. Yeah, good. Or it's Friday evening, or it's Friday night time, or it's Saturday morning. There we go. It's obviously going to be Saturday morning. That's how it is in Australia. So many different days. So technically I am streaming on a weekend. Hello, back to the Philippines. Nice to have you from the Philippines, where it is either Friday or Saturday. Wonderful. Okay, so the concept of today's video is I have heard many of your unpopular opinions, so if it was like a really good idea, I haven't included it in this video. Anything that was unpopular, I'm going to be discussing it on stream, and the idea is I will try and defend the unpopular opinion. So you may possibly get to figure out what my actual opinions are just by how enthusiastic I am about any particular thing, but we'll see. We'll see. Alekman, I think I've got a couple. I copied them into a document, so we'll go through them and then I arrange them by theme, but I haven't really looked into them much, so we'll get to them. But I'll be trying to defend them as best I can. And we'll take the idea that, yeah, this is an unpopular idea, but actually it could definitely work. Probably. Maybe. Okay, it's a terrible idea, but I'm going to defend it still, because that is the concept of the video. So some people gave me their actual unpopular opinions for me to defend, which is nice, then we'll see if I agree. So, no, we're not going to talk about how Genestealer cults are the best, because that is a very true thing. That's not an unpopular opinion. Everyone just knows that. Oh, yes. So some people gave me actual unpopular opinions. Other people just wanted to hurt me. They just gave me the most horrible, painful... Of course the music swells then at that point, yes. The most horrible and painful things. That's what they wanted me to defend. And then they'll be sitting there watching on the replay going, ha ha ha, yes, that's right. Fool yourself. You fool. So it'll be something like that. That's how it's going to be. So I have comments from the YouTube community. I have... Yeah, let's buff Eldar. You know, that's on the list. Unsurprisingly, that is on the list. So we'll get to buffing Eldar. So we had comments on the YouTube community poll. If you're subscribed, then you'll be able to see the YouTube community poll. If you are on the Discord, and the Discord is linked in the description, so if you want to join the Discord, there were also comments there. Wonderful. I missed out a couple of them that were like too actual real world, or that were too... What do we think about capitalism in Games Workshop? That was just not quite the tone I was going for, but it's okay. You'll see that in the chat there's the emoji things, so you've got heart emojis, you've got laughing emojis, you've got also the shocked emoji. So if they come up, then you can be clicking the shocked emoji and things like that. Wonderful. We have 100% understood that. Excellent. The first one, of course, is easy that we go to. The best part of a Games Workshop livestream is the bit where they ask people where they are from. So let's do that. We know we have one person from the Philippines. I recognize someone from Australia. Where else have we got people tuning in from today? If it's morning somewhere and people are at work, that would suggest Canada or United States. But maybe Canada? Canada? We have Canada. Excellent. If you're in Canada and you want some cheaper games compared to Games Workshop, I think I have in the description. Is it in the description? Not in this description, but generally a lot of other descriptions, there's a link to Fenris Workshop, and they have discounted things. We have Alabama, wonderful. Texas, these are places I've heard of. Wales, I was there recently. Was just up at the FSG something, and the code doesn't work. Oh, right, so Firestorm Games, got it. Yes, that makes sense. Firestorm Games. That is my UK-based code thing. So if you're buying things online from Firestorm Games, unfortunately you can't go into their store and be like, I know a VTuber, please give me discounted money compared to Games Workshop prices. It doesn't quite work like that, but that's okay. That's okay. We have New York. We have various places in the United States. Wonderful. These are places I recognize. So, as we've just established, the bit of any Games Workshop live stream where they ask people where they're from is surely the best bit. Am I not from Transylvania? You know, not every vampire is from Transylvania. Famously, Dracula travelled and lived in London. I think. He bought property in London. The way London property prices are, I don't know if you actually have to live in London. But that's a totally different thing. There's going to be some kind of Games Workshop event, live stream thing where they announce some reveals. And that's going to be big and important, at least as far as they're concerned. They think it's big and important. It's happening at 3 a.m. So that's 12 hours from now. It's going to be on. So I'm not going to be watching it live. And if there is anything good, like, oh, there's definitely one battle system model, then yeah, I can talk about that. If it's just, here's some probably Dark Angels, couple of Necron characters, maybe an Admech dude that's all tentacles and whip arms, then that's probably not that. And there won't be a video. And I'll do a different video instead. So there should be a video in Saturday, 15 hours, 20 hours, something like that. I'll have some kind of video out. No, wait, that's too soon. I'll still be asleep in 20 hours. Will I be asleep in 20 hours? 20 hours. 20 hours seems reasonable. There'll be a video. Yeah, I can't wait for Genestealer Cult reveals. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any, though. It would be nice. It would be real nice if we got something Genestealery. There was the demo charge bomb things where it's a series of bombs in a rack, but it looks like that's being held by a League of Votann model. So Votann are just nicking our stuff. They're going in and being like, oh, demo charges, blasting charges, mining theme? Yes, of course the Votann have a mining theme. I don't know what other faction would have a mining theme and use blasting charges. How absurd to think anything other than Votann would do it. I do have a cough. This is because Nurgle has blessed me. But the benefit of live streams are you cannot get my cough from me vaguely coughing. So if I go quiet at any time and my various face... Yeah, if my VTuber model suddenly spasms, but I'm also very quiet, it's not because I'm having a fit or being electrocuted, it's because I'm coughing and I don't want you to hear it. That's why. I'm recovering. I'm well on the way to recovering. This is like a 4-day, 5-day thing. Possibly Orcs, possibly Custodes. Ooh, release Orcs and Custodes in a combo box. I wonder how they'll do a narrative thing for that. You can probably just make up one. Custodes went out. Oh, we need to stop the next beast, but it's not the beast. It's someone like Gazgul, but it isn't Gazgul. Because they don't want to develop any of the plots. Yeah, they do love combo boxes. Hopefully they have a Genestealer Cult and Battle Sister one. Then I can just buy that one and none of the others. But at a discounted price through Firestorm Games or something. Although I'm not allowed to use my own affiliate links. So other people. Christmas! People could buy it for me for Christmas. If something cool like that does turn up, then I'd have to switch out my Extendo legs, Admech Extendo legs thing, which is like £2 away from succeeding. then I can go for, yes, I would like that box for Christmas. And it can be something people buy me for Christmas. But as it is, I think I'm getting 1 pot of paint. Yeah, just the 1 pot of paint, I think. Oh, Vashtar isn't coming back for a while. No, not at all. No. Genestealer Cult fighting Votann underground would be fun. They did a battle report, and I think it was the first battle report involving Votann against Genestealer Cult when the Votann were coming out. And the Votann lost, as far as I remember. So that was fun. That was cool. So they're not just being like, new faction, must win, let's go. Oh, when I say Votann coming out, I mean they came out in 9th edition and deleted an Imperial Guard army in turn 1. I mean like when they fixed them and they put them in White Dwarf, then they had an actual thing. Yeah, combo boxes are good. It's how a lot of people got into Ynnari, because there was a combo box of Eldar and Dark Eldar, and you're like, well, let's go, both of them, please. It's getting dark already. Let there be lights. And then the tracking should be better. Yes, that works. Okay, I'm just gonna hide chat on the screen. It's still there on the side of the YouTube bar. And then I'll bring up the unpopular opinions. So I just need to go here, click that, and then that, and then that. There we go. That should be up. So we have the first one, which was very nicely submitted by Zarota, who is here in Australia. And I thought, in case he needs to go to bed, let's get that one done first. And of course he is a channel member, so he's clicked the join button that's underneath this and very kindly, very kindly gives me some pennies every month, which is nice. So this is the idea, this is the thing I'm gonna have to defend. World Eaters are strategic geniuses. Okay, now running at someone as a superhuman with a massive chainsword is actually really clever. You see, you have the body, you have the armor, you have a weapon. That's perfect for shock attacks. A lot of people are going to be scared by a massive dude that's, 8 foot, running at them, screaming that they're going to kill them. That's going to mess with morale. That's a viable tactic. Orcs do it in large numbers, they're just not elite. So, the World Eaters are incredibly clever when they do it. And the World Eater commanders can still do sensible things and move fleets around and bomb things. It's not all just drop down, charge the enemy, hope for the best. Sometimes it is that, but they'll be outflanking. They'll be all of the same stuff. They are still Space Marines. They're doing the Space Marine thing. They've got, I don't know, drop pods, maybe? Whatever the Chaos Drop pods are called. Dread pods, I want to say. It'll come to me. Or you can put it in the chat. It's something like that. It's an Imperial Armor. Forge World is not called Forge World. It's called Difficult Kits or Specialist Kits or Hard Kits or something like that. Yeah. So they do some shock assaults. So do the Blood Angels. So do the Space Wolves. Thank you for subscribing. That was very nice of you. We have... There's other tactics. There's other tactics than just screaming and running in. And Angron is relatively calm compared to the other World Eaters, so he can have tactical ideas, which may sometimes involve rushing the biggest thing that the enemy has, dying, and then coming back later. But that can still work. Yeah, we can have challenges. You can eliminate the enemy command structure. That is something that the World Eater's Master of Executions does. An elite choice for other Chaos Space Marines, a HQ choice for the World Eaters because it's clever to cut the enemy's head off. And also, strategically, cut the enemy's head off. Hello! So there, the World Eaters definitely are the strategic geniuses we need. Let's see if it changes. Whoa, we missed one. There we go. So there's the next. Too far. Why does it keep doing it on a lag? We'll get it. We'll get it. And yeah, relatively calm, not actually calm. Angron is relatively calm. Khan could be, in theory, calm, but Well, he's still able to lead people. That's something he does. People still follow him. He's not captain of the 8th company or whatever his rank was. It was probably that. People still follow him for some reason, so he must have tactical skills and good ideas. He's not just going to kill everyone if they don't follow him, if he's known for killing people if they do follow him. So he must have good ideas. So... that's right, his name is Calm the Friendly. Alpha Legion, different traitor legion. The Alpha Legion lore is not very deep. So, as an unpopular opinion, because I know people are like, oh, the Alpha Legion's so clever and smart and they're traitors, but they also have loyalists. And they're sort of mind-controlled and they're in a civil war with themselves, but you don't really see that on the tabletop. But lore-wise, they had one, maybe 2 books in the Horus Heresy series that even touch on them. Yeah, one focused on them, and it was just, we're loyal to the Emperor, we're loyal to the Emperor, aliens said it's best if humanity dies. Okay, sure, let's just do that. Almost on a whim. And we'll side with Chaos, try and wipe out humanity, pretty much, or almost wipe out humanity, and then all of the Chaos forces will just give up. Because they burn themselves out in a state of madness and chaos, which definitely worked, you know, with the birth of Slaanesh. Yeah, that's fine. That's about as clever as the Eldar being like, well, maybe if we got more gods, that would work. And we'll have a god of the dead as well. So, I don't think the Alpha Legion lore is that deep. They're just some dudes that shout for the Emperor, which I think the Emperor's children also shout. They don't even have the same... they don't even have, like, a unique battle cry. It's the same battle cry as other chapters and legions. I'm glad we're agreeing. Absolutely. I'm good. I have totally convinced people that this is what I feel. Oh, hopefully this doesn't become like a debating society. But other than that, I don't think the Alpha Legion has much. There's 2 Primarchs, but there isn't really. And they do lots of shenanigans, but their shenanigans are not even as tactically sound as the Raven Guard. They're just the Raven Guard, but traitors. That's probably that. There is a cool fanfiction series, which is about what if the traitor legions and the loyalist legions got flipped. And the Raven Guard as traitors are much more interesting than the loyalist Alpha Legion. Much more so. So that's fine. That's fine. Wonderful. Okay, we'll move on. We saw what the next one was. But yeah, mysterious factions being like, oh, I'm going to do a shenanigan. Oh, there's something here. So it's hard to write well, I think. When it's, you don't get to know what we're about, and I'm not explaining what we're going to get to do, and so nothing really happens in the books. Conclusively. Yeah. I don't have a link to the series, I can't remember where it was found. It would just be something to internet search. And best of luck with it. Okay, next one. Having Primarchs in 40k was a bad idea. Oh, I can't actually remember who the lead traitor was. Probably Gilliman. Or maybe it was Rogaldorn. And he was like, I'm going to build siege. We're going to fortify the Eye of Terror. That's what we're going to do. Fortify the Eye of Terror. But Primarchs. Primarchs. So having Primarchs in 40k was a bad idea. Okay. So the theme of 30k is it was a massive time, a great, glorious time when gods bestrode the earth alongside men. Those are the Primarchs. Then you have massive legions, really, really big ones, to the point where we now have a game coming out possibly on pre-order already, although I don't know how much it's going to be. They're going to be announcing stuff tomorrow or in 12 hours time and be like, oh, look, more Legions Imperialis stuff, where you can have 10,000 Space Marines if you want and field the entire Legion on the tabletop. theoretically possible. But, floating continent, thank you for dropping in and leaving the comment. I hope you can catch up later. The theme of the topic of the video should carry it through like the whole live stream, so that's great. Wonderful to have you here. Hi, hi. Hi, hi. You're right, so we get to 40k. 30k is gods bestriding the earth. 40k is grim and dark and nothing like the glory days of the past. A lot of the stuff that they have is all based on classics like the ancient Greeks, ancient Romans, that sort of theme. So in the Greek ancient, like the classical period of ancient Greece, there was this great idea that, oh, the gods are no longer among us, the time of heroes has ended, the Trojan War was like the last great thing, we're just the descendants trying to carry on and keep some kind of empire, some kind of civilization going. Same for the Romans. If you hadn't noticed, the 41st millennium is very much based on Rome. You have massive legions, you have a civil war with emperors vying with potential emperors, and then after that it breaks. Then you have two parts to the Imperium Nihilus and the regular Imperium. It might just be called the regular Imperium. Imperium Primus, Imperial Secundus? No, that was the 30k thing. You have two parts. You've got the big split in the middle from the Imperium Nihilus. That's meant to be like the Roman Emperor stuff, where we're in the late Roman Empire, so we don't have legions, we just have well, we have chapters, but the smaller version that you get in late Roman Empire. Hello there, hello. Then we have, yeah, so the Limitani and the Comitatenses, that sort of idea. That's where we've got the Imperial Guard just defend everything, and the Space Marines are the rapid response that goes out and stop threats. They're not really expanding the Empire. They're just keeping it as best it can. So the idea that, oh hey, Julius Caesar's back after 200 years. Hey, look everyone, we have Antony and Cleopatra. Look at that, they came back from the dead and now they're leading legions all over the East and stomping on aliens. It doesn't quite fit the tone. And so when we get, as soon as you have one Primarch come back, then the question is, when is the next one coming back? And the next one, and the next one. I think we can accept that Ferrus Manus and Sanguinius and Horus are dead, for definite, but so many of them have disappeared without a trace and have said they'd be back, including the Raven Guard Primarch saying, nevermore, nevermore, and then going off to do a crusade of his own into the Eye of Terror, like a crazy person. So he can come back if he wants. They do let you make much more larger detailed models. That's cool. It's maybe best in 30k. And then they can use 30k to try out a lot of rules and you can just buy Space Marines. And then they decided, oh, actually in 40k we're going to have 30k style Space Marines. So one unit that's all multi-melters. One unit that's all plasma guns. The very 30k style, something that the 41st millennium was meant to get rid of. But never mind. Never mind. Oh, they'll find a way to bring back Sanguinius. Yeah, they'll be like, oh, the spirit of Sanguinius is there. Oh, we have, what is it, the Sanguinator? There's a special character that the Blood Angels have. He's in, it was the whole thing where they showed off non-metallic metals for the first time. I think he's called like the Sanguinator or the Sanguinor. A weird spirit dude who just turns up. Sanguinor, thank you. Yeah, so it's like the spirit of Sanguinius comes back. So that's probably how they'll do it. And then it'll be like, oh, did you know that Iron Father Ferrus was actually the Primarch Ferrus Manus all along? He was just hiding his size. Something like that. Something really weird. So having Primarchs in the 41st millennium really messes up the theme that they're going for. It's like a silver age rather than a failing time when everything is bad and going very, very wrong. With all of the British humour, which tends to be, things are pretty rubbish. Yeah, but we'll carry on. And, you know, let's laugh at the absurdity of it all. Something like that. Saint Celestine of the Blood Angels. That's right. That's right. Yeah, and if you've ever seen British, like, apocalypse movies, it's not like, oh, 2012, the world is exploding and we've got to fly a plane to get to Antarctica because there's Ark ships being built by China or something like that. It's more Children of Men, where things are a bit rubbish. No kids are being born. There's a bit of street violence and everyone's like, yep, this sucks. Government's evil. Ah, what are you going to do? That's the kind of theme they're going for. Rather than a lot more cowboys. If you hadn't noticed, it's become a lot more American appeal. Cowboys, we've got, well, a lot of cowboys. A lot of factions have got cowboys now. Which, as far as I know about America, that's all that anyone ever loves. It's all, yeehaw, cowboy shoots gun in air, but you have 3 guns because you're a Kelemorph. Accurate. Lore accurate. Lore accurate Americans right there. Yeah, Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead's a good British comedy horror thing where generally it's not all we need to do something drastic and save the world and we're the only ones that can do it. It's we're gonna go to the pub. Yeah, we'll wait for it to all blow over. That's the British attitude and approach. So in the 41st millennium, that's what guardsmen are going to be thinking. Oh great, the Tyranids are invading. Not let's go, bayonets, gung-ho, yeah! It's going to be when's my smoke break? When's it not my turn on watch? How soon before I can go to the pub? This whole thing is probably just gonna blow over. I liked Hot Fuzz better than Shaun of the Dead. And then At World's End the least. Because it was... I got the theme, but it didn't quite get there.
Alex Sharkbite just tipped 10 Omega O.
Ah, thank you, Alex. Thank you very much. You already give me lots of money anyway, so... this is extra appreciated. Not that people know who's in the Secret Legionary Council, but thank you. And I love the little emoji made of all of the different symbols. Thanks a lot. So that gets me my AdMech Extendo legs. Now we too can be snipers in the Genestealer cult, and not just leave it to the evil AdMech. What about the Demon Primarchs? It'd be odd if all the Demon Primarchs are just not doing anything. Maybe. I've always thought that, yeah, they can be in the Eye of Terror doing their thing, vaguely plotting, or they've maybe, like, transcended the need for violence. They have different concerns now that they're on a whole different plane of thinking. Something like that, maybe. This is shocking. I know. I'm trying to defend the unpopular opinions. But everyone likes having a really cool big centerpiece model. All named characters should go to Legends? Maybe. That's a thought. They did that. I mean, they did that with changing Warhammer Fantasy to Age of Sigmar, and it generally involved killing a lot of the different characters. Yeah. If anything, we need the 2nd and 11th Primarch back. That could be a cool thing, but Games Workshop has this big problem of, here's a cool teaser thing, here's something that's happening in the lore, and then they don't develop it. It's been something like 8 years since there was going to be a civil war in the Tau Empire between the Farsight Enclaves and the Ethereals. Hasn't happened. The whole magic door that the Dark Eldar have, ooh, something's gonna happen, something creepy's gonna come through. Yeah, nothing's happened there. The Eldar problem, oh yeah, we have Ynnari, it's a cool new faction, and then they don't explore it anymore. Nothing happened really with that. So they haven't explored any of these, and having lots of named characters does mean that, oh, they're all doing a thing, but it may not actually go anywhere. So that can suck. I mean, some factions having auto-include special characters, you can just go, this is my version of this character. I have,
WB
you know...
just tipped 3 in your opinion, which is the best Imperium faction, and why did you choose Adeptus Sororitas?
Okay. I mean, we can have, like, our own living saint as a thing. Yes, Warhammer 40k, the world of retcons. It very much is, and I'm sure we'll get onto them. So, what is the best Imperium faction? It's probably going to be Battle Sisters, because they're the most fun. They're the most, like, they're down, they're not the largest, they're not superhuman. You can relate to them. They have religious fanaticism, which is cool and funny in the 41st millennium, not funny in the real world. So, they have that. They're an army of ladies, so we can just be wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the money. We can be relatable as human people, but without the whole, we're Imperial Guard, we come from so many different worlds, we're doing trench warfare, now we're doing armoured warfare, we're First World War, now we're Second World War, now we're Cossacks in the 19th century, now we're future tech people, and it's all Starship Troopers. I have to play a Starship Trooper at some point. But, yeah, that can work. That can work. But the Battle Sisters have a relatability about them. And when Games Workshop was like, there are no women in the 41st millennium, at least in terms of model representation, then suddenly there were, it was cool. And in the 90s, not the 2004 re-release of the Battle Sisters, they weren't sexualized at all. Sure, they have the massive boob plate armor, but that's got skulls on it. It isn't like weird nipple bat armor that Batman has. It's not like that at all. It was all very violent. It was all like, these are cool women with guns and also heavy armor. We're not doing Rambo but female or something like that. You love the orcs because they is British and that is well funny. Or they have one of the accents. I don't know that. I don't know which accent it's meant to be. It's just generic biker gang plus football hooligan plus lads being boys. So it's one of the British accents. And having British people portrayed as not just, my tea is going cold. I must whip the slaves more. They're more Cockney than Yorkshire. Because if they were Yorkshire, then they'd be like, Earoo, I made... Let me do me proper Yorkshire accent. I've been out Rent Corner for the whole day, and I've been making scrap pile into massive mech thing. You haven't done out. You don't get to ride in buggy. You can walk. So that's what they'd be like if they had a Yorkshire accent. It's more weird Cockney, but something along those lines. So that was an accurate Yorkshire accent. Pair that with heavy metal and it sounds right. Sure, we'll go with that. Yeah. Oh, them ads be mucking about. They do be. The YouTube isn't giving me a way of being like, I don't want any ads on the live stream, I just want it in the actual video afterwards where you can actually put them. It seemed to be that last time we did a stream like this, the channel members didn't have ads. I don't know whether that was a coincidence or not. It's random whether you get an ad or not. It's meant to be every, I don't know, 15 minutes? Something like that. I do get money for ads. That is something. So I do get tiny penny ads. It's really annoying when it happens. So I try and I'll linger on each particular point. I won't be like, here's a quick one, let's go. Then we're done. So it'll stay on the screen a bit. If some people haven't had any ads, so that's great. Oh, you have YouTube Premium, Zarota, so that makes sense. That makes sense. I also get money for that, so YouTube Premium isn't the worst thing. They could be from Wolverhampton, yeah, or Scottish Orcs. I'm trying to imagine what Scottish Orcs would even look like. You could have tartan squigs. You would paint your squigs tartan. And if you have any haggis, it's just squiggis instead. You don't use ad blockers because you want creators to get money. That's very kind of you. I mean, either way, I haven't really seen my ad money go way up since YouTube said, oh, we're going to block the ad blockers. So it's nothing quite like that. Squiglander. Oh, yes, the Tanith Ghosts have the Tanith First and Only. They are Scottish. What if Scotland had a regiment and then Scotland blew up? Yeah. And there's just one big orc going round being like, there can only be one war boss, and then cuts off the heads of any other orc. I see that. I can see that working. That's cool. That's cool. Scottish orcs, I'm suddenly a fan. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. It's going too fast. How's that? Nope. There's no easy down arrow. I'll have to do it slowly. There we go. There we go. The last one of the live streams. Oh, you got one ad? Okay. Okay. Yeah, Scottish Orcs would be awesome. I think we can go with that. So it's not an unpopular opinion, so we can't linger on that because this is all about unpopular opinions. The next one being 9th edition was a mess. Worse than 10th edition and worse than 8th edition. Now I'm thinking we could have some really good woad pattern orcs. Do it like the 11th century Scottish patterns. Something like that. They already have it in the Age of Sigmar stuff with the feral orcs. And I think you can just have very lucky things. Right, okay. Okay. 9th edition being a mess. So, they had some really bad balance and insane power creep. So whenever there was something like... okay, we've introduced a new faction. They would always be so incredibly powerful. Admech came out, super powerful. Dark Eldar came out, super powerful. Votann, right at the end, coming out. Oh goodness, they were so powerful, they had to do an apology video. Hello, ZB, hello. We're just talking about how 9th edition was absolutely awful. Supposedly. That's what we're going with today. So everything was new and stronger and more insane. And the Space Marines got 2 codexes. The Chaos got 2 codexes, I think. Maybe. Anyway, Imperial Guard were just crushed for the whole edition. Sisters were quite good in 9th. Until the Eldar got a Fate Dice mechanic. And that was just better than the Sisters one. Because when you're likely to wound a vehicle, because most of the vehicles in 9th edition were like toughness 7, and a Meltagun was toughness 8, so you're wounding them on 3s, and you can use the Miracle Dice to get 6 damage, plus Melta damage, and that was most of, if not all, a tank. So you could wipe out a tank in one go in that. They unsquatted the squats before the guard. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 9th edition was not a good place to start. Okay, there's more about 9th edition. There was so many rules. I stopped playing Space Marines because there were so many rules to figure out. We had the army special rule, the faction special rule, the sub-faction special rule. There was extra sub-faction special rules because they added to them. And then... oh yeah, you got bonus rules if you were only playing the one faction and not using allies, because they tried to get rid of the soup idea where it was like, oh, everyone was playing Space Marines plus Imperial Knights plus a squad of guardsmen or something like that. So 9th edition was terrible for that. What have we got in comments? Crusade was really fun. I liked the introduction of Crusade, but Crusade in 9th was less balanced than it is in 10th, because for every 2 Crusade points you had, your opponent got a command point. So if you had something like, oh, after the battle, my unit gains +1 experience. Oh, after the battle, I can reroll an injury roll. And then your opponent's like, yeah, well, I can use this one command point, which is super powerful, and I cause 6 mortal wounds to you, and it has an in-game effect. Now in 10th edition, it's got bands. So if it's like 1 to 4, nothing happens. If it's 5 to 10, difference in in Crusade points, then you get 1 special thing. Then it scales like that. So it's much better in 10th. Yeah, there's Crusade in 10th. You only get it if you bought the Leviathan box. There's a book, I think it's called Leviathan Tyrannic War. It's about 50 pages, and it has a lot of good missions. Yeah. Armor of Contempt was indeed crazy. Lethality was insanely high. Pretty much every faction had -1 AP on all of their basic guns. So yeah, Votann were -1 AP. Shuriken Catapults, -1 AP. Bolt guns on Space Marine Intercessors, -1 AP. If you had Tau and their Pulse Carbines, they were -1 AP. So they had to introduce Armor of Contempt as a rule to try and counter all of this madness. So Armor of Contempt was a rule for all of the power armored factions, So that's Chaos Marines, Battle Sisters, all the different kinds of Space Marines, things like that, and Imperial Guard tanks to have an ability to ignore 1 point of -1. Like armor penetration, just to try and rebalance it. And then towards the end of the edition, they stripped it from everything, reduced the points of every faction that had it, except the Battle Sisters, and so right at the end of 9th edition, Battle Sisters were truly awful. Space Marines did cost less points than us, which is so bad. They may have then sold the Crusade thing separately. I'm not sure. Not sure entirely. I've just seen it in the pack of like 3 books, one having the lore, one having the main rules, one having the Crusade rules. Yeah, so lethality was absurdly high in 9th edition. Tanks disappeared really quickly. Infantry, light infantry, heavy infantry, it all went down. So people were just doing lots of small units in the hope that something of their army could survive. The more I'm talking about this, the more I'm actually deciding, yeah, maybe 9th edition was kind of a mess. It got... so they have sold it separately now, good. It got better in terms of balance, but some of that balance was all competitive play-based around secondary objectives. They gave each faction their own secondary objectives. Yeah, so they didn't just say ignore 1 point of -1 AP across the board. It was only for the power armored factions to try and stay better. Yeah. No, we can talk about the core keyword. The core keyword was a whole thing of which different things in your army should be getting the abilities of like captains and lieutenants and aura things. It was strange for some factions because the idea of core units was narrative based, but then it had an actual tabletop in-game effect. So Necron Warriors, Lich Guard, and Immortals, they were about the only core thing in the Necron rules. So the Wraiths, the Destroyers, the new Scorpeth models, anything like that was not core and didn't get any of the bonuses from their characters. And they're a very character-focused army. Dark Eldar had Witches, Kabbalites, and the Raks. That was it. Nothing else is core. So that was a whole difficult thing to figure out what is core and what is not. Repentia were core for Battle Sisters, which I wouldn't have thought narratively they should be core, but they were. That worked, and then they got various auras and things from that. The stats in 10th maybe do have the right idea, but there is a lot of customization cut out, yeah. Oh, yes. And then there's... core was strange. Battle line is a better way to serve that, and you just have more battle line units, optionally. The Sisters probably should have the Novitiates as a battle line unit. They used to have, I'm thinking for the Witch Hunters Codex, they could have Stormtroopers, so it was Battle Sisters or Stormtroopers were your core, but that was more, this is an Inquisition Codex featuring the Battle Sisters. So something like that. Yeah. Sacrosanct. Or we could maybe bring back Celestians. I don't know. Maybe Celestians could be, a core battle line thing and you have an elite thing. Yeah. Oh, you missed the first 44 minutes. But you can see it later. Yes, absolutely. Because the benefits of streaming on YouTube mean that it's right there as a video. I am going to sneeze now. That was dramatic. But that's Nurgle for you. Thank you. I think I muted it in time so you didn't have to hear it. 8th edition had a lot of pretty good stuff. I really liked the start. I'm a silent sneeze. Yeah, I just muted the microphone real quick. 8th edition was really good at the start. I really enjoyed the indexes of 8th edition. If they'd had that, plus one like sub-faction special rule, even a simple thing, even like a choice of 6 or something, that would be great. That was all that like the Genestealer cult was missing at the start of 8th edition. They could have then done with some better Cult Ambush stuff. I did like Genestealer cult in 9th edition for the various shenanigans you could do with Cult Ambush, like, oh, this unit can reroll the charge. Now my aberrants are likely to hit. They never did. They always failed the reroll of charge if I failed the charge on the first roll, but there was an option. Yeah, Infiltrators being the core of the 10th company, but not battle line. That was a choice. Definitely a choice. Oh, I did not like Crossfire. Crossfire was something that I just had to ignore as best I could, because it was always a difficult thing of, oh, it happens, it doesn't happen. Yeah, the music is going very hype. Is it too loud? I can lower the volume of the music if required. But Crossfire, I had an upgrade on my Neophytes to always get double Crossfire, so they ignore cover, get +1 to hit and +1 to wound. That was fine. Yeah, I like the indexes of 8th edition. But 9th edition was definitely weird, so good. Music's fine. Wonderful, wonderful. It's gonna be up and down. It's like, what is it called? Not lo-fi. It might be called lo-fi. Doesn't say. It's your sort of hip beat stuff, so it's fine. Yeah, it has a wide dynamic range. If I put it any higher, then it'll suddenly get crazy stuff. Lo-fi beats, that's the one. It sounds like lo-fi stuff. A lot of lo-fi, yeah. Right, so I think we've covered why 9th edition was sort of a mess. Yeah. More Age of Sigmar armies. You're fine with no music? That's good. You're curious to play some old Hammer. I'm thinking I may do a video on, like, the 2nd edition. Just pinning down some points for 2nd edition stuff. And see, yeah, here's the things that were going on in 2nd edition. That may be nice. Lo-fi music to die to the good Emperor for. Yep. Yeah. Oh dear. There was so many different rules. And Sisters were, oh no, I'm thinking of all the Sisters rules in 9th edition. We had the Army Special rule, so you had to understand your Acts of Faith, when they trigger, when you get extra points for it, extra dice for it. Then we had the Sacred Rites, which you have before the battle. You can pick one, or you can roll 2 randomly. Then we had Zealot. Then we had Armor of Contempt, which is an extra thing in FAQ. Then we also had the Shield of Faith, which gave us a 6+ invulnerable save on everything. Plus, we could try and dispel psychic powers, but only if we rolled a 6. Yeah. Oh, Tyranids had a lot of different rules in 2nd edition, and they were not consistent when they came out. So maybe 2nd edition being a mess could be a whole video. That could work. I'm trying to think of the actual books I have. I didn't get the 2nd edition main rule book. 3rd edition I have. 4th edition... Did I get that one? I think I did, yes. 5th edition was so much like 4th edition, I didn't buy the book. Then 6th edition I got. Then 7th edition, it was basically an errata for the core rules, so I didn't get the 7th one. Then 8th edition, I do have. 9th edition I didn't get because it's basically the same edition, but with like a revamp of the rules. And now I've got the 10th edition rules. So yes. Psychic Phase going. I think Psychic Phase is on the list. So we'll move on to the next one. But rolling back the layering generally seems to be a good thing. Yeah. Okay. Magnetizing models is a bad idea. That's what I have to defend next. I know a lot of people know it's a popular opinion. You type 1 in the chat if you think, yes, magnetizing models are a good idea. Type any other number if you think it's a bad idea. Then we'll get a sort of idea of roughly how unpopular this is. Okay, not a lot of people for magnetizing. Maybe this is... Some people like magnetizing. Of course there's a 69. Of course there is. Yeah, it's a good idea, but don't do it. I can get behind that. It's very much going to depend on what it is. I have seen people pick up a demonet and it becomes a Slanesh ball just because of how much magnetizing there is. Magnetizing can be useful for transporting stuff. You just get metal sheets, put them on, hang them from the ceiling inside a box. It's a bit weird. Yeah, it can easily be overdone. So magnetizing is a bad idea generally. Sometimes, if it's something like a Lehman Russ turret and you want to change it out for different things, if you've got crisis suits, you're definitely going to need to magnetize. But anything else, I don't think you want to be magnetizing. In magnetizing, you need to get the right magnets, you need to get the right size, you need to not overdo the magnets, they need to be the right strength, so you're not just pulling in everything in a 5-meter radius onto your model. Yeah, are you going to magnetize the arms on a guardsman so that you can swap out your grenade launcher for a flamer depending on the meta? Oh, Baneblade magnetizing would be awful. There's so many different weapons you would have to magnetize. And it to be, today it's a Baneblade, today it's a not Shadow Sword, because that's a static turret like a tank destroyer. Another one. Blue tacking can be better. I can get behind blue tacking. Yeah, the Hellhammer, that uses the same thing. Don't magnetize termagants. Oh, then you could have all 3 of the different special weapons that they can now have. Magnetize, Battle Sisters with the thin arms. Oh, and the, if you're going to do the Paragon Warsuits, they are very difficult to build. With the hip joints to the torso, and I still don't know where the legs of the Battle Sister go. Where are the Battle Sister's feet? That's the thing I want to know. Do they have to cut the feet off? Are the feet like pointed down like they're doing tippy toes, like they're doing ballet inside the suit? Are the feet where the kneecaps are? I don't know where the feet are of the Battle Sisters that go in Paragon Warsuits. But apparently they have legs and feet. They are horrible to assemble. A lot of the Battle Sister models are just horrible. I don't have feet today. We're just not... to save processing speed, I don't have anything animated below the hips. So we're fine. We're fine. Yeah, they're really, really bad models. I don't like the Paragon Warsuits. You could magnetize the weapons so you can change out Sword and Maul or Flamer and Multi-Melter. That can work. Maybe. Yeah. Oh, no, do not retribute. Do not use magnets with Retributors. You build them as best you can with the Retributors, and whatever fixes, it stays. I have dropped several Retributor models, and they just shatter. And so you get 4 parts of a heavy bolter, 2 bits of an arm, one of them stuck to one heavy bolter part, but not the correct heavy bolter part, and then there's a random head somewhere. They're really awful. I don't like the Battle System models when you're trying to build them. I like the style, the aesthetic, so the Metal Sisters, I really like them. You add a backpack on. That's the only bit. Yeah, that's it. So magnetizing is not a great idea. I discourage magnetizing. That's the opinion we're going for today. Anyone who likes magnetizing is now overruled. Oh, right, yeah. Before they had the combined box for the night. When it was, we've got certain weapons. And then they do weird things where it's like, only this setting of this weapon on this arm and this weapon on this arm is going to be this kind of knight. Anything else isn't allowed, so you can't have a power fist and a Gatling cannon. Or you can't have that. You can't have a chainsword and a Gatling cannon, or a heavy flamer and a chainsword. Not allowed, because that doesn't exist, so you've got to try and proxy it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Space Marines not being as prevalent as they are in 40k? That's coming up later. That's definitely coming up later as an unpopular opinion. Guard tanks. I've got a Lehman Russ now. I'm gonna magnetize just the turret, I think, so I can take the top off and on and then slot in the gun I need. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah, then I think the sponsons, they should just pull out and push back in. Push fitting it should be okay. That should work. Okay, let's move on to the next one. That has gone way too far. Where? Magnetizing. Let's do it slowly. Done that one. Should be magnets next. Yep, done that one. Oh, good. I'm glad the whole mount and the sponsons push fit fine. That's reassuring. Here's the next one. The Eldar are not OP. So, I'm seeing, the shocked faces coming up in the little emojis. That's what we have to claim. Maybe they, well, At the start of the edition, when they were on 67% win rate, and in theory, that 1 out of 3 losses was just to any other Eldar player, then, I think at the start of the edition, part of their high win rate was because they were easy to play. Just pick a fate dice, just move a thing around. They can be quite difficult to play because of the toughness 3 bodies, but when we're getting to the meta, people are not doing toughness 3 bodies. They're doing the Wraith Guard, they're doing the tanks. Things like that. I'm going to tell you so many lies. So, that's fine. That's the problem. Yeah, so it has a bit of a theory that it's like the Gene Stealer cult where you need to be tactically sound to play it, but it wasn't at the start. Eldar players bringing their sock puppets into chat. It's lore accurate. Yeah, I mean, lore. If you're going by lore accuracy, then every faction should win every battle against every other one. Every faction is overpowered in the lore. The Necrons can instantly kill everything. The Tyranids are going to wipe out the universe. The Chaos Forces are just finally going to get out and crush everything. The Imperium has so many people they can hold back all of them at once. Everything is OP. But Eldar, if we ignore the Wraiths and the vehicles, they have a lot of Aspect Warriors, and the Aspect Warriors are not OP. Occasionally they get taken in tournaments. Maybe you see a squad of Fire Dragons. Maybe you see a squad of Swooping Hawks or Warp Spiders. Something to do objectives and fly around and maybe kill some light infantry. But mainly objectives. When it comes to fighting, Striking Scorpions, Howling Banshees, Dark Reapers, Dire Avengers, none of them are really OP. They're not doing a lot. Shining Spears have the ability to bounce off a lot of things. That's what I've seen. Yeah, so the Eldar, we can agree on that. Yes, the Eldar jank is absurd, but being OP in principle isn't quite it. There does seem to be a mix of like 2 different kinds of Eldar players. The ones that do the Swordwind style, which is a lot of Aspect Warriors, which is the kind of army that a lot of Eldar players have collected for years. If we're thinking the Warp Spiders, that model came out in 1994 and has not been updated since. But then you have weird shenanigans of, oh, now my Wraith Guard are moving 7 inches back or forwards in your turn, and now you can't shoot them, or you can shoot them, and weird stuff. Sisters of Battle are just Imperial Eldar? I don't know. They don't have the maneuverability, they have the toughness 3 bodies, but they don't have much else beyond that. Why do aspects all have mandatory colours? They don't necessarily have mandatory colours, they have traditional colours. So I've seen in Games Workshop like codexes and releases and stuff, Fire Dragons, sure you can do them orange and yellow, but people can also do them black and red. I have Fire Dragons that are black and red. Or you can do them much more like your craft world. So if you're being Ulthway, then you could have black Dire Avengers but have a white head, whereas the rest of them have cream. So you can do your Aspect Warriors how you want. It's going to be obvious from the model what kind of Aspect Warriors they are. So that can work. That can work. Have Fire Dragons in sister colours. Absolutely. Yeah. Recently I've got the idea of maybe it's the easiest thing to do is have Battle Sisters, spray them black, have the armour black, have the robes black, and just say they are our martyred lady, but they didn't get the email to say, oh yeah, following the massacre at Armageddon, we've changed our robes from black to red. So if you go back to the 2nd edition codex, which of course everyone has access to, it was out for ages, everyone could easily get the 2nd edition Battle Sisters codex, then you could just be like, yeah, they're our martyred lady, but they still do black robes, just with like a red trim, optional. And then your spot colours are the gun and the face with the hair, so that can work. Yeah, pick a defining aspect of the part of the Aspect Warriors and just go from there. That can work. The Wraith kits, I don't know, I think the Wraith kits are okay. They're relatively easy to build. They have a ball and socket joint for the arms, so that works quite nice. Design-wise, they're not amazing, but they're at least easy to build, unlike what a lot of the Battle Sisters have. Yeah. Oh yeah, the Shadow Spectres are definitely coming out of the Imperial armor stuff. Occasionally Striking Scorpions. I don't think I've seen any Striking Scorpions. Dire Avengers can be quite nice for holding objectives. I think they have OC2. I think. Can't quite remember. Someone with access to it will have to quick check that. But their ability to fire Overwatch but hitting on a 4+ as long as they're on an objective can be quite nice. It's like an extra round of shooting for them. Yes. So yes, the shoddily painted Battle Sisters that you may have bought are completely lore accurate. Just paint the face, paint the hair white, do a gun red if you're doing 2nd edition style. There you go. Battle Sisters sorted. So Eldar can be OP if they're done one particular way with lots of shenanigans in the current detachment they have. But in theory, and for a lot of their models and units, no, totally not OP. And they've dropped down in tournaments to a 57% win rate, so that's an improvement to show that they're not OP. And if they're losing half of the games they play, sort of, not really, but about half, that's fine. In a competitive sense, sure, it's an improvement. In a casual sense, I think that unless you're playing a tournament-style army, you should be alright. Yeah. Yeah. Some of them had scorpions. Maybe. Dire Avengers are only OC1. Okay. I guess you need Guardians, but people don't take Guardians so much. Guardians are definitely underpowered, both Storm Guardians and Guardian Defenders. You can get a Fate dice, same as Battle Sisters generate a Miracle dice, but they're not as good for shooting and things. And you can't attach a lot of characters to them. In casual play, Tau were a menace. I fought against Tau recently. They were a little bit difficult. A little bit difficult, yeah. I saw that at Firestorm Games, someone had a full-on Tau Manta, which was really cool looking. So that's like 2,000 points by itself. Yeah. Gretchen versus Dire Avengers. Who's going to hold the objective better? Who's going to get the good stuff? Oh, yes. Oh, 4th edition Black Guardians. And they also then got... This was the whole time when they didn't advance the lore. So there was like, oh yeah, we're going to have the Black Crusade, 13th Black Crusade. And there was nothing for about 15 years. So Black Guardians were great. They could come from the webway. They all had like deep strike. They could hit you. Their drawback then was if they failed a leadership test and they had reduced leadership, then they would run away and not come back. So that was their thing. Having trouble with Tau. I've also been having trouble with Death Guard casually. They really are tough, and there's a lot of them because of the points drop. Yeah. Yeah. Bringing 30 Repentia. Also, 30 Arcoflagellants might work. I'm trying to think of something we have that's like advance and charge. Rhino maybe, but we'll see. Hello Lazar, first time here. New to Sisters and have my first match as Sisters against Templars. You want as many heavy bolters as you can. A lot of heavy bolters are going to be required to fight Templars. There's so many bodies, and if you can put out that many shots... Yeah, I think the Pendant Engine is the only thing we have that advances and charges. Yeah, the Templars are going to come to you, though. So if you can do a sort of gun line, and our army special rule doesn't really suit that. But you can do that. You can do that, yes. Heavy bolters are going to be a good way to go. Multi-melters to try and take out any tanks they have. It depends how much they go into the massive Black Templars styling of lots and lots of Marines. Or if they do a more generic Space Marine thing. Either way, heavy bolters will be good. Having problems against Votann. Votann can also be difficult. I've never quite liked the Votann thing of they're very tough, but they shoot a lot. Unlike, say, Orcs, who are very tough but run at you. Screening units will be necessary, absolutely. Yeah. How do you beat Black Templars with Orcs? Dead jump? You keep doing dead jump? Then for one of your command points you can add 2 to a charge roll, and then you're rolling on a 7? Something like that? It's good that you're leaving the person who did a video unnamed, because we don't talk about other people who do different 40k things or VTubers while we're here in the live stream. Obviously you're here for me and my content and not to say, hey, I know someone different who does things. So thank you for that. Votann are definitely tough. Votann have a lot of things. I find that either you take out the Hecaton Land Fortress or you take out everything except the Hecaton Land Fortress. That's the general theme. Yeah. Okay. Right, let's move on from Eldar. Let's see what the next thing is. It's a hecaton of a land fortress. Yes. Have I skipped one? Oh, I'd skip one again. Oh, I skipped 2 or 3. There we go. The old world will perform poorly. Okay. How are we feeling about the old world generally? The return of the old world. Give me a 1 in chat if you're thinking, yeah, I might buy or get back into Warhammer Fantasy, the old world. Generally meh. Kind of meh. From the rules I've seen... Oh, that was for the tank one. Okay, yeah. You're possibly. What is new old world? So they had Warhammer Fantasy, which ran from like 1984 all the way through to 2016-ish. It was a fantasy battles on square movement trays, so it's something that Mantic now possibly do much better. So old world is they're bringing back that old world and focusing it around Bretonnians and the Tomb Kings, who don't really have a direct analogous in Age of Sigmar. If you know Age of Sigmar, it's the more, I wouldn't say it's exactly low fantasy, but if you've played Warhammer 3, it's that, but on the tabletop and with big squares. Age of Sigmar doesn't use square bases. In theory, you're allowed to, so that's fine. The limited army options may hurt. Yeah. Tomb Kings, Bretonnians, I think they could be nice models. I appreciate them. You think Old World will boom but then struggle competitively with Age of Sigmar? Yeah, so many of the factions have been absorbed into Age of Sigmar. It would be... Yeah, I think you could probably kit bash some Tomb Kings with Necrons. The arms should be about the right size. And then you just have a lot more of the Egyptian aesthetic. Instead of... They have weird snake sand creatures that turn people to stone. Those could work for Wraiths. You could get Necron Wraiths of that. Yeah, Age of Sigmar turned up because Warhammer Fantasy was not popular anymore. So... It was... Oh, Lord of the Rings came out. They had a big thing with Lord of the Rings. So it was 40k, always been the most popular game as soon as it came out. Then when they got the contract with Lord of the Rings, then everyone was playing Lord of the Rings and buying Lord of the Rings models. People were not buying Warhammer Fantasy or playing Warhammer Fantasy. I really didn't like 8th edition Fantasy. It was so bad. Yeah. No. I mean, Ossiarch Bone Reapers, maybe. They are kind of analogous of the Tomb Kings. Yes, because they have the catapults, they have the elite skeleton infantry. But the Flesh Eater Courts are very much the ghouls from the vampire counts. Oh, wait, yes, of course. It is the Bretonnian ideal. They think they're Bretonnian. I'm with you, Elect Man. Yes. They think they're Bretonnians, but they're not. Yeah, the 8th edition was really unpleasant. Lord of the Rings was a really good game system. They barely changed the rules since it came out. And I think they've only basically done one new edition since the start. It's a great skirmish game. You can buy a starter box, and that is most of your army. Just done. That doesn't happen with Age of Sigmar or 40k. So Lord of the Rings is a lot of good fun, but it's dropped popularity because, you know, it's 20 years old that the films came out. I am now using basically the same technology that Andy Serkis used in 2000 and like the 1999 when they were filming it. That's how long it's been, to the point where the technology he used in that is now publicly available and affordable enough that random people who talk about 40k can now become a Gollum lookalike. Although I think my model's probably a bit nicer looking. Yeah, you can play just Fellowship, you can play just Nazgul, you can play Hobbits. I have many Hobbits. I used to put them in 2 ranks and they would throw stones, like firing by ranks. Yeah. So that is the wonders of technological advancement. What else do we got? Oh, love the Battle Sister videos. Thank you, Walter. Thank you. Yeah, so 8th edition Fantasy was really not good. It was a lot of... It made it extra square movement. Even skirmishes were square movement. The idea that everything was blocky, including individual models, they had to have arcs and things. but cannons and artillery didn't. So if my Eshin Night Runners turned up behind a dwarf gun line, that dwarf cannon could spin 180 degrees, take the gun, take the solid shot out, put in grape shot, fire the grape shot, blow away my dudes, then spin around again, reload a cannon shot, and be ready for the next turn to shoot into like ranks of clan rats. And having, oh, I'm an assassin, but the elf mage moved 1 inch to my right, therefore they're in my flank, not my front, so I can't charge them anymore. That was awful. Awful, awful. 5th edition, 6th edition was good. Yeah. Hero Quest. Hero Quest is amazing. Everyone should play Hero Quest. It's a lot of fun, Hero Quest. Yeah, Battletech. Battletech is alright. I've played some Battletech. It has fine lore. I know there's Catgirls as one of the minor factions, like a sub-faction of a faction. It's an okay thing, Battletech. But I don't much like the giant robots. If I wanted giant robots, I would be playing Tau, not Battle Sisters and Genestealer Cult. The Horde armies. Yeah. So, Battlefleet Gothic, I've played it. Battlefleet Gothic is a lot of fun. Titanicus is okay. It's a lot of micromanaging Titans. Maybe the Legions Imperialis will be nicer. Yeah. Yeah, that could be easier rules. And then you can do Titan fights in Legions Imperialis. You say I own Nundums. I do not anymore own Nundums. I didn't like the models. I don't like the building them was just awful. So they were traded away. So no Nundums for me. The Catgirls are also in 40k. Oh, the Philinids. Yes, as a abhuman, an abhuman thing. Yeah, Battlefleet Gothic, it is a lot of fun. The rules still stand up. There's a fan, I think you can just get it online, because the creators were like, we've either left Games Workshop or it's been so long since we did anything with these rules, because it came out in 2000, 2002, 2004, something like that. So 10 years after that, they were like, here's the one fix, FAQ, redo of the rulebook that's needed. That's it. It was such a good game. If you play the online version, that is also fun. I'm going to get back to this text on screen in a second. Yeah, the Battlefleet Gothic. Oh, they had a really good mechanic as well. Random leadership in Battlefleet Gothic. It's not something that everyone necessarily did, but it's historically more accurate. You see, when you've got the big ships, the crew on the really big ships would be pretty inexperienced. Because the crew there, they don't get into a lot of fights. Pretty much every other ship sees a massive ship coming towards them and gets the other way. They sail away, and so there isn't a fight. The big ship's crew doesn't get the experience. Whereas little ships, who would be fighting each other a lot, they would have a very experienced crew. So things like sloops, frigates, they would be doing a lot of the shooting. And you can get them inland and stuff. So leadership on smaller ships could be better than the big ships. And it was nice that Battlefleet Gothic acknowledged that. So, New Old World will perform poorly. I think they're not going to be supporting it a lot. There's going to be a, here's the release, and now it goes in our specialist games category, and it's there in the background. They've already said there's a lot of factions they're not going to be supporting in Warhammer Fantasy The Old World. So, it'll be stuff like the Skaven, the Vampire Counts. They're not going to be giving them stuff. Yeah. Nothing like that. So, it's going to be released and then left, I think. That's how they're going to do it. Specialist game things. And then they'll be surprised if it fails. Yeah. Yeah, John Chavez. If there was one upgrade thing, multi-melter on a Battle Sister sprue would indeed be very nice. Or, here's your add-on sprue to make Celestians with guns. That would be nice. Yeah, there's going to be no support for the Rat Boys, at least not in old fantasy, new fantasy, old world, new world fantasy, old. Nothing for Dark Elves. Yeah, I mean, the Dark Elves are just pushed into Cities of Sigmar, but not really supported in Cities of Sigmar, because that's all just humans. Really, that is the way they're going. They're very expensive, like £33 for 10 models. It's not good. If you go to a Games Workshop, you can get one plastic model of them for free, and you can turn that into a Crusader. That's pretty good. I'm going to be doing that. And maybe going to several Games Workshop stores to pick up different ones. So that can work. Skaven with extra sprue for multi-melters. Yep. Celestian kill team? Ooh, maybe. That would be nice. I would really like that. If that gets announced tomorrow, or like in 11 hours time, that's what we're doing a video on. Celestian kill team. But I don't think it would be. I don't think it would be. What else would I like? I would like a generic civilian human thing that can be conscripts for Imperial Guard, could be Fraternus Militia for Battle Sisters, could be Guerversa for Tau. That would be cool. That would be cool. You got 2 copies of the Cities of Sigmar launch box because, yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah. You need a lot of dudes. It's going to be expensive, but yeah. Full unit of Noise Marines. Yeah. I'm expecting they'll do some new destroyers. Like the flying destroyers for the Necrons. That'll come out soon, because they're still using the glowing rods from the early 2000s. Yeah, a generic Imperial Labor Militia could be cool. Or the prisoners, whatever they were called, where they take the prisoners and put them into battle. Yeah. Yeah, Age of Sigmar has not necessarily a lot of troops needed, but yes. Penal Legion, thank you. Penal Legion, that's the one. Eventually Emperor's Children will get their own thing. Yeah. So they'll get new characters. A new Arco Fragrance. The new Arco Fragrance from Ophelia 7. Smell of Despair. Or Arco Flagellants. Perhaps that. Like they got the new Arco Flagellants, yeah. Would the Gene Stealer cults have a flyer? A drill but flying? I mean, that's a nice idea. That's a nice idea. Perhaps not. Should 40k get an equivalent of the Age of Sigmar endless spells? Ooh. You know, that would really bring back the psychic phase. And it'd be, I cast this endless spell. I have this because it's available to my faction. That could work. That could work. I wouldn't be opposed to that. And it could be nice as a little, I have a few extra points, like an enhancement. Yeah. Yeah. Less of the flyers in the 32mm scale? Maybe. Maybe, maybe. So Old World, I think, will do okay at the start from some nostalgia. The rules they've released so far do not look amazing. It's like they've ignored the last 8 years of rules advancement that you got from things like Mantic and Kings of War and all of the other fantasy movement things like Napoleon. All of that. That's just stuff they're not following. Yeah. Gene Stealer Cult Flying Drill. Oh, it could be like a warp. Oh, then we have an anti, like, flying thing, which is basically a warp lightning cannon, but it fires mini drills. That could work. I like that idea, Lord Kaelig. I like that. I like that. There's a few sisters lists using Arcoflagellants for objectives and groups of 3. That can work. Because they're pretty cheap, and you can either do that or 2 Crusaders, Crusader model free available from Games Workshop right now, or we can have the Death Cult Assassins. That'll work as well for objective holding and stuff, or just have Battle Sisters and generate them miracle dice. Flying Patriarch when? Yeah, oh, and we need the Drop Cathedral. I think that's on the list, actually. We'll see, we'll see. The Mantic Dark Elves are kind of cool. Ah, but the Resin Heroes, yeah. There's a lot of cool Mantic things. So, that's relevant to this. Warhammer 40k is a bad place to start wargaming. I would say as a learning thing, you'd maybe want to start with Kill Team, but Kill Team can be quite complex. You don't need as many models, but the kits still are quite expensive, and I'm surely they're going to release some kind of new, ooh, here's a Kill Team maybe tomorrow. No, they've already done one. It's not even been a month. Might have been a month. Yeah, it's been a month. But 6 weeks, and then they're releasing another new Kill Team box, I think is too quick for Games Workshop. 100,000 points of the Celestial Array. That could work. Yeah, Kill Team isn't so much... I think it counts as a war game. It's a skirmish game that's a war game. I mean, Infinity is a skirmish game and also a war game, and that has a high price, but when you buy Infinity, that's the entire thing. That's the rules, the terrain, the battlefield, and the full army that you're going to need. All there in one starter box. So that can work. Games Workshop and 40k is good for getting pickup games. Yeah, we have Combat Patrol. Oh yeah, Combat Patrol can work. But then, which Combat Patrol box? Some of them are stupidly pointed. The new Space Marine one is just awful. was it 12 models for, it might be more. I think it's something like 12, 17 models for stupid money. Really, really bad. Yeah. 40 points for 3 arco-flagellants and you get 2 wounds each and a feel no pain is very good for holding objectives because they actually have to try and kick you off. Space Marines are always bad for points or just generally. Oh, the Battle Force. Yeah, the Battle Force is horrendous. I don't like any of the Space Marine ones. Dark Angel Combat Patrol, 5 Intercessors, Chaplain and a Dreadnought. The Deathwatch Combat Patrol, which doesn't have any Deathwatch models in it. It's just, here's some Intercessors, here's some Aggressors, here's a Lieutenant and an Apothecary. And that's not great. Not great at all. No. No, I don't think it quite fits. Yeah, starting with Age of Sigmar maybe, because you don't need as many models. Yeah, average Age of Sigmar points are higher. It's combat-y. There's no, oh, which gun or weapon is the best one, as you have in 40k. It's not like, oh, I've equipped everyone with flamers and melter guns of the meta, this is terrible. It's just, I think I'll have a big hammer. I think I'll have a big sword. And it's about the same. Yeah. Yeah, it could be bad. It could be bad. So 40k being a bad starting place. The lore is kind of, there's a lot of lore. It's so very, very dense, all of the lore. So I'm thinking, if you were got something, let's say, Bolt Action. Is Bolt Action the World War II one? That's like a platoon level World War II game. That's fine. That has lore that everyone can understand. Yeah, that's... Hey, did you know there was this big war called the Second World War, where we have this faction and this faction, which are like the overarching factions called the Allies and the Axis, and then you have these sub-factions, let's call them, like the Germans, the Italians, the Japanese, and stuff like that. Yeah. Did I say Death Cult Assassins don't generate Miracle Dice? They don't generate Miracle Dice by just being on an objective. You need Battle Sisters to generate Miracle Dice from being an objective. But yes, Death Cult Assassins get Miracle Dice as they die, and they can also use Miracle Dice. But yes, don't spoil the Bolt Action lore, I haven't read it yet. Wonderful. I did have great fun teasing a Bolt Action play, being like, okay, so like explain how this all works in the lore and stuff. So there's this mustache man, and he did some war. Can I play as this Czechoslovakia or this Yugoslavia? These nations that don't exist in the real world that we haven't heard of? Yeah, I mean, can't be them? No, okay, just have to be more the mainline armies, but you can have fun with that, yeah. FDR doesn't make it. Oh no. Does boarding action work in 10th edition? It does work. It does still exist. At the start of the edition, they gave some quick rules, so they are on the download section of the Warhammer community tab. You can go to the download section, and then there is some boarding action rules there to copy it over to 10th edition. It was designed with 10th edition in mind in theory. Yugoslavia is the Eldar of bolt action. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, or you maybe the Dark Eldar, because a lot of the infighting and civil wars that would later happen. Maybe that. Yeah. I'm sure there is a Second World War YouTuber who does bolt action lore. Actually, just doing that would be quite funny. I assume it's the same. It's just the same. Just every fight tends to be perfectly symmetrical, which you didn't have in the real world. Oh dear. What are the faction for orcs? Maybe it's going to be the Japanese. If it's all lots of, not so much the shooting and the artillery, but rushing at the enemy. That could work. Yeah. Conflict 47. That's like, okay, yeah, that's like kind of sci-fi it. You could kind of sci-fi it. Yeah, rather than shouting "Wah," they shout "Banzai." And that is the orcs, but in World War II. Okay, so maybe 40k is not the best place to start. Maybe it's okay, but you can definitely pick up a good starter game. A lot of people play it. Like half the people in my club, any game night, it's half 40k. There's a 40k YouTuber that goes, alright, does bolt action on the side. Okay. Watch play in school. I watched some friends play Space Wolves against Orcs, and it seemed really cool. Until the Astartes video. Astartes is really nice. It's a really well-made thing. I don't think it's going to be an unpopular opinion to say Astartes is better than anything that Games Workshop has produced, whether Warhammer Community, Warhammer Plus, or anything else. Yeah. And yeah, 40k is still the most popular, so a lot of people are going to play it. But rules-wise and lore-wise, it's maybe not the best place to start. Definitely not money-wise. Okay. Okay, we're into computer games. So, at the end of Space Marine 1, which came out like 12 years ago? I think it came out in 2010. The very end of 2010, so maybe it's been 13 years now. Yeah, the final battle... 2009? It can't have been 2009. It must have been 2010. I'm sure it was 2010. I remember getting it a second time after my disc broke. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so they on the Warhammer community, they recently released a mission that you can play that is meant to be like the ending of it. But what happens in the game is you fight up your way up this massive tower, you're killing Chaos Chosen, you're killing the elite of the Chaos Army, you then see, there's the Chaos Lord, he kills one of your friends, he's ascending to demonhood, his Chosen come out and fight you, you kill his like 8 super elite Chosen, you get your Thunder Hammer and rush straight at him, you're ready to fight a Demon Prince, you get knocked off the edge, and then X, square, square, circle, circle, triangle, X. Yay, you did it, you won! So I now have to explain that this is actually not an unpopular opinion. It was amazing. It was what we all wanted. Well, you see, it's iconic. Yes, it is definitely of its time. I think it was one of the Lara Croft games, like Lara Croft Legends was one of the first ones to introduce it or popularize it. And then pretty much every other game was like, quick time events, yeah, let's go. Yeah. Oh my. Oh dear. You were disappointed by that mission set. Oh yeah, it wasn't painted Blood Ravens. They should have had more Blood Ravens, because the Blood Ravens were there. Yeah. You could do a forfeit for ones I can't defend. No, I can defend it. You see, it was great because it was like a cathartic thing where it's much like the end of God of War, where you get to press circle lots of time to punch Zeus's face. That's how it was. You can just really go ham on this guy, and you don't need to be pressing the same attacks that you'll be doing the whole game. It's entirely different. It's a reward. Yeah, we're gonna have a whole thing where we knock a Tyrannid Hive Tyrant off the top of a tower, and we get to do exactly the same thing. We don't need any of this horde mechanic stuff that's gonna chug away and stop your computer running properly, or your PS5 if you can find one of them. Then it's gonna be better to just have it as a quick time event. It's a nice cathartic release at the end of the game. And something different there. Sometimes quick time events are harder. It's a totally different set of skills. So changing it up at the last minute was very innovative. Absolutely. A fight would have been better. Well, at least we've established that this is certainly an unpopular opinion. Yeah. Quick Brood Brothers questions. Would you put a Dozer Blade on the Basilisk? It is, I think it's just cosmetic at this point. It doesn't have any in-game rules currently. So either way. Either way. But it used to have rules and did stuff with difficult terrain or was ablative or something like that. Yeah. All the boss fights in Space Marine were pretty garbage. Well, you got to fight the Orc War boss with loads of extra Orcs coming in. You could say that button mashing is more engaging. Maybe, but you've gotten used to it at that point. You don't want to just be swinging a Thunder Hammer, pressing a square, 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 square. You want to mix it up. Get some X's and circles and triangles in there. Absolutely. That's what we want. The Orc fight was alright. I liked the Orc fight. Suddenly there's grenades everywhere. Suddenly he's charging at you. Suddenly he's grabbing you with a claw. It was good. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Okay. A Battle Sisters thing. I don't know if this is actually unpopular. What do people have if they have a Castigator? A twin-linked autocannon, or do they have the battle cannon? We'll go with 2 as the number to type if you have the twin autocannon, 1 if you have the battle cannon, or 0 if you just don't have a Castigator at all, and like Exorcists, much like me. Exorcist being a much better tank. Battle cannon? Battle cannon? It's true and not an unpopular opinion, and people just don't have Castigators, so that's a thing. Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite good. It's a Rust, but 1, yeah. There's to go. There's someone with a twin-linked autocannon. We want the missile organ superiority. Absolutely. Indirect fire, so much better. The autocannon is better than the cannon, yeah. Well, you can have... It's 4 shots, but rapid fire 4, so within 24 inches you're getting 8 shots. So that's probably more than the battle cannon anyway. Okay, good. If you have the Triumph of St. Catherine nearby, you get extra shots because it's a rapid fire weapon. It's damage 3. The Strength 9 isn't going to penetrate armor, and maybe you don't want this to penetrate armor. You could just use it to blow away heavy infantry. So if you are fighting something like, Black Templars, then you could use your Battle Sisters with a Castigator with the twin autocannons to mow down loads of different Black Templars. You get to reroll it to hit against infantry. That's cool. That's useful. You have a lot of shots anyway. The Castigator getting to reroll to hit against vehicles and monsters, it's not as valuable if you can get a reroll to wound. But Castigator autocannons wounding on 3s or 2s against all kinds of infantry, that's really good. Damage 3 is going to blow away pretty much every kind of infantry, other than like Tyrant Guard maybe? But otherwise, they're all going down in one shot. And if you hit the enemy, I think the Castigator autocannons, regardless of what you hit, then you cause battle shock. So that's good. I don't think the Strength 10 to Strength 9 is going to do that much difference unless you were shooting at a vehicle. And that was like a Toughness 9 or 10 vehicle. So if you're wanting to kill infantry, the twin autocannon is great. Yeah. It's it has a place certainly, but it's swapping it out. I mean, even the battle cannon isn't really dedicated anti-tank. You want to try the Exorcist missiles for that because they have better armor penetration and potentially higher damage. They're both AP -1. Both things are AP -1, so we're not getting through tanks either way. Yeah, we do just lack that. We do just lack anti-tank at long range. Even multi-melters, I don't know if they're anti-tank anymore. They're wounding on 5s. It's a maybe. We have the armor penetration, but short range, 18 inches. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's twin linked. Oh yeah, so if you fire it at a tank, you're getting to reroll a wound. That is really good. So it's maybe just a lot of people are like, we'll just push those to the side. We won't have Castigators, but the twin autocannon's not a bad choice against either tanks or infantry. Fair enough. Yeah, the melter guns just don't melt in 10th edition. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Non-Imperial factions should probably be able to ally in from Custodes. That would be good. That would be good. That would make sense as well. The Custodes not being a full army and just being agents of the Imperium would work better, I think. Yeah, I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion. But yeah. Yeah, that could work. Then Sisters of Silence too. Then we could have Sisters of Silence in a Battle Sister army, and it does match thematically, and you've got still your army of all of the ladies. Okay. There are a lot of unpopular opinions. I think this is going to spread over 2 streams, actually. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. Age of Sigmar is better than 40k. Now, as a 40k focused channel, yeah, this may be a difficult sell. So, Age of Sigmar is a bit cheaper to get into. Age of Sigmar is very melee focused, so you don't need to be worrying a lot about shooting. Second edition at one point had a lot of really powerful shooting armies, but then so did 40k, but worse. So the shooting got toned down and is much better. The rats are having not a great time in Age of Sigmar. I find it difficult to use the rats with the weird synergy that doesn't really work between the different clans. But yeah, is it really cheaper? It's a little cheaper, but not that much cheaper. Then again, yeah, there's fewer horde armies. It's maybe too young to fully compare? Maybe. It does have a lot of more simplicity. You don't need to compare toughness value to strength value, although I actually like that in 40k. It's just, here's your hit roll, here's your wound roll, and then it cranks up the madness factor to like 8. So it's got a lot of mad stuff, and all of it somehow balances because every faction is absolutely insane. Don't change that. There we go. £5 cheaper on a battle force. That's what we want. Yeah, they have enough of an identity from fantasy, so they're copying a lot of the good stuff they had in Warhammer Fantasy and then adding more. That can work. It's a simple way of playing, rather than the melee things being like, I hit you on this and wound you on this. I don't know whether... Maybe this is a separate thing, but do you like that 40k has a set hit roll? Or would you prefer to be comparing weapon skills to like a bar, ballistic skills to like a bar, and weapon skills as well? So an Autark would wound a Gretchen on a 2+, but only hit Gazgul on a 4+. Something like that. Maybe they should come back as well at 40k, so you have a comparison. But it's probably fine as it is. Having the wound rolls as like, this is where the difficulty bit is okay in 10th edition. It actually means you have some toughness. Maybe having variable weapon skills to compare. Yeah, it's okay for melee, but not for shooting. Yeah, I can get that. Oh, you missed the penetration charts from 2nd edition. Some of them were fun and weird and wacky. The way they stacked wasn't really obvious. There was a lot of, this one is clearly better than this one, but higher numbers, so I get +1, so actually I get a worse result. Some of that was weird. Definitely weird. Yeah, the earlier editions of 40k had like a 1 to 10 chart for strength, 1 to 10 chart for toughness, and you would cross-reference them to find out what you got. So something like strength 4, toughness 4, it was on a 4+. Strength 4, toughness 5, you wounded on a 5+. But then strength 4, toughness 6, you still wounded on a 5+. Strength 4, toughness 7, you needed a 6+. It was hard to remember beyond the very easy ones that come up often, like strength 3, strength 4, toughness 3, toughness 4. Yeah, there were some crazy rules. 3rd edition toned it down a little bit, and it slowly got more and more turned down. A lot of things were just... Land Raiders were either... I think the Land Raiders were pretty much now unstoppable. From what I remember from like 2nd edition through to 5th edition. You couldn't get... And yeah, if someone brought a Land Raider, I learned to ignore that pretty quickly. Even Dreadnoughts could be difficult. Ah yeah, 5th edition Land Raider could sometimes die to a pebble. That's where you had the, I have penetrated you, so therefore you only have 1 wound, so we go straight to a really bad thing happening, and like on a 5+, you're dead. So Land Raiders could be taken out relatively quickly. Or just not at all. It was strange. Very strange. I didn't have enough anti-tank weapons just in my armies generally. I didn't think they were cool. Tanks. Found them boring. So weapons that kill tanks were unnecessary to me. But that was like child brain thinking. +1, -1 for each point of difference. It didn't quite go that level. Because you could get to like strength 4, toughness 8. You could still wound on a 6. Which I think was the same level as toughness 7. But then when you got to toughness 9, you couldn't hurt it at all. So, it wasn't too hard to figure out. I would only have to occasionally use it for the more unusual things like whatever the Wraith Guard and Wraith Lords had. Then you would need it, but otherwise it's fine. Yeah, it's not completely linear. It's much better the way it's done now. It's just that it took a couple of editions to figure out, oh, now that you're wounding on a 5+ and not a 6+, suddenly the toughnesses are not really meaning as much anymore. So at the start of 8th edition, I was taking hordes because the points are about the same as in 7th edition, but the toughness values relatively have changed quite a bit. People hadn't quite figured that out. Necron Locust Heavy Destroyers, or whatever they were called. Oh, in the past. Oh, and also now. Now, yes. Anti-tank is that. Good. Good, good. Yes, Age of Sigmar. There's not as much rampant favoritism for specific armies. So, the Stormcast Eternals, sure, they have quite a big range and lots of different ways of doing Stormcast Eternals, but they're not obviously overplayed or favorited compared to other things. Sure, they are the Space Marines. They're going to be in every starter box set. But it's not like, oh yeah, this is the one we're going to give loads of stuff to. This is the one we're not. Yeah, Space Marines. So they're kind of fantasy Space Marines, but not. They should have had auto passes. Maybe. Yeah. Is there a Battle Sisters equivalent for Age of Sigmar? I don't think there's any, like, easy sister order. There's no super religious humans. They'd just sort of be in Cities of Sigmar. So I don't think there is something. Unless people can think of some Age of Sigmar faction that is like Battle Sisters. I think they're otherwise... There is a Battle Sisters equivalent? Daughters of Cain, no, they're very much the weird Dark Eldar. Or Dark Elf. It's that sort of... Think of all the witch cults from the Drukhari. It's that is the Daughters of Cain. So I wouldn't quite say they match the Battle Sisters, although they are part of Order. So you could say that. You could say that they're the weird, crazy religious people that also do nighttime sacrifices and abduct children. So you have to behave. Witch elves are the witch elves. Yeah. You think Idoneth Deepkin? Well, the Idoneth Deepkin do have the soul stealing thing to keep them around. You're funny, Mr. Or Person Foy. You're very funny, witch elves. Yeah, the Cities of Sigmar do have more of a religious thing than the Astra Militarum. So, feature in every infantry squad. Okay, good. Maybe. I suppose you could try witch elves, but it's a lot more naked stuff, not heavy armor. I was thinking more ladies but heavy armor. For which Bretonians, new Bretonians are going to get some lady models, so that could be something. But Age of Sigmar, sure, it's definitely better than 40k. We'll say that for now. We've talked a bit about Age of Sigmar. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, too far. Way too far. It's coming. It's coming. Oh, close. Yeah, the super religious or all female, but not both together. Yeah. You can have Daughters of Cain allying to Cities of Sigmar, so that can work. That can work. But it doesn't quite work by itself. So, heals the jet bikes. Yeah. They're at least the Cabal section. I think that works. Yes. Idoneth Deepkin are 40k Drukhari. So this one. Objectives to score at the end of the turn, not the start. Then Battle Shock would matter if it happened. So, there's like two parts. There's a lot of different abilities. Like if you think of the Patriarch, he can cause Battle Shock in the fight phase, which doesn't usually mean anything other than your opponent can't use stratagems in the fight phase, but then they recover from the Battle Shock at the start of their turn, assuming they're not below 50%, and then they can score objectives. Yeah, so the thing about this one though, sure, tournament missions are scored at the start of the turn, not the end of the turn, but if you play a lot of the Crusade missions, a lot of them are scored at the end of the turn, or the end of the battle round. So if it's like the larger games, like the Onslaught size games, at the Crusade level, you're playing Crusade and it's also a Onslaught size, 3,000 points, the player who goes first doesn't really have an advantage in points, but they are getting the advantage of massive amounts of shooting hitting you turn 1. So that's when they are scoring at the end of the battle round. So they can do damage, they can get on objectives, they've then got to hold those objectives, then player 2, who's going to have fewer models, gets to kill things and then take objectives, and that's when it's scored at the end of the battle round. So Crusade missions, a lot of them are scored at the end of the turn. Secondary objectives, they're scored at the end of the turn, just not primary ones. Maybe units should stay battle shocked until they pass the test, that could work. Yeah, but forcing battle shock would then mean a lot. Definitely. Yeah, forcing battle shock would mean a lot, and causing battle shock in the fight phase would do a lot more than it currently does. If something gets battle shocked in a phase, it doesn't stop being battle shocked until the next phase. That could work. Yeah, battle shocked in the combat phase, not so you don't undo battle shock until the next combat phase. Problem then is remembering when a unit got battle shocked. I think it's probably the buff battle shock. Yeah, maybe. Because you can still move and shoot and fight pretty much the same, just without your stratagems. Yeah. I think it's okay, probably at the moment. Secondary actions in the competitive sense, if you're using the cards, that's all scored at the end of the turn. And in Crusade games, they're scored at the end, so it's fine. You can simplify this by scoring at the end of the command phase. That's when you score normally. So that anything that does need to take a battle shock test in the command phase fails it, and now you don't have the objective. I think that's it. Maybe battle shock should force you to move away from the enemy? Maybe? Or battle shock wears off after scoring? I don't know. With this one, I think it's... we already have some missions where it works. So I think it definitely can work. Evidently, it's not that much of an unpopular opinion, since we all seem to be saying in chat, yeah, why not let the battle shock mean a lot more? Score objectives later in the turn. Okay, so we'll go with it for not that competitive. I'm thinking we'll do 2 more today, and then it looks like I'll need another live stream to do the way more that I already have. So there's that. What could an average person of total defeat in 40k? Oh, an average person of today defeat in 40k? Yeah, they could probably beat Gretchen. They could beat any human type person. Fighting against the Imperial Guard, they have laser weapons and like good technology for that. But otherwise, they're using some old things. But yeah. Battle shock unit gets a collective heart attack and dies. I mean, I think I'm okay with battle shock as it is, rather than it being you have to run away and then try and rally, or you lose models because of fear, but how many models, and then you have different rules that modify that. I think battle shock's a good introduction in this edition. Yeah, okay. A human could kill a Titan if they roll enough 6s? Absolutely. Okay, the second last one. Free Wargear and locked squad sizes with a fixed points are a great change to 10th edition. This is what we have to defend as an unpopular opinion. Okay. Aha. So, it's easy to figure out an army. It's easy to figure out, okay, I just have this unit, I have a full unit of them, I take them in my army, it's this many points. Making an army is pretty quick. So, that's fine. I bought these in a box. There's 3 Arco-Flagellants. Here's the points for 3 Arco-Flagellants. Yeah, it is much easier to balance squads of like 10 sisters compared to 10 Space Marines than it is to compare 1 Battle Sister with a bolt gun, but a separate model can take a heavy bolter, to like a Space Marine where you've got a bolt gun, but another separate model can take a grav gun or a plasma gun or a flamer. Yeah, the Arco Fragrance are either 3 or 10, no in between, yeah. Some units were already size locked. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the like Necron ones, I think the Votan ones, anything that came out later in the edition or is an unusual alien thing is probably going to be squad locked. I mean, things that were like squad size 1, that's definitely locked. Yeah. Okay, so it makes it easy for figuring out an army list. It's quick for that. Free Wargear, that means you can build your models with whatever you want. In theory, it should be balanced against every other kind of Wargear. In theory, that'll be the intention for later in this edition and maybe for next edition. Maybe we want cheaper Leman Russes by dropping sponsons. Maybe, but the Leman Russes already have separate points values for all of their main cannons with their own special rules, so that's good. And then it doesn't matter whether you've got a heavy bolter to kill Chaos Marines or a las cannon to fight tanks. It's fine. You can build the model however you want without suddenly thinking, oh, I've messed up this, and oh, now I'm going to be 12 points too low, and now I need to add an extra 12 points just to get it on. Yeah, definitely sucks to have a bunch of sponsorless tanks. They're now worse. Kind of. I mean, the model can be equipped with extra heavy bolters. It doesn't have to be on the sponsons. You could glue them onto the side of the turret if you wanted. Leman Russ tanks in 30k can't have sponsons. Ah, so there's no crossplay. Oh, that kind of sucks. Yeah, and if you want to do something really powerful, you don't have to pay extra points. There was a lot to be said for power. You could be like, okay, let's make a list just like that, and we're ready to play in 10 minutes. There wasn't this whole, okay, now we've got to sit there and figure out, okay, if we're doing 2,000 points, I've got this unit, I've got these models, are we playing WYSIWYG? Do I add this or not? Yeah, so being able to do it is a lot quicker. It's a lot quicker. Someone said Leman Russ is a person, everyone knows it's a tank. You know, the greatest contribution that Leman Russ did to the 31st and 41st millennium is being a tank. Yeah. You can't take more than 3 battle cannons without using commanders, but that means you can have 6 battle cannons. That works. I think the Leman Russ is the one that has the least problems with the free Wargear and the lock squad sizes. Probably. Ooh, yeah, that's an unpopular opinion that is not being defended. Necron warriors have 3 wounds each and cost 1 point. Toughness 1 Gretchen. Oh, is there anything that's toughness 1? What about those little squiggly creatures that went with all of the, in the Nurgle, the Pox 1, Galapox Infected? Are they toughness 1, all of the little creatures? They might be. That could be fun. Toughness 1, yeah, they're like Nurglings, glitchlings, and there was also some flies, also some slugs, all things like that. Oh, they're toughness 2. I thought they might have been toughness 1. When they had them in 8th edition, they were split into the 4 different kinds. I think they were toughness 1 flies. So even if you had strength 2, because of Nurgle reducing your strength or something, you were still wounding them on 2s. Yeah, yeah. I know that the points do, in fact, force you to take the best things. Like, I would love to have some Acolyte hybrids and not have hand flamers, but have some auto pistols to make them a bit cheaper. Then they can be there to do actions, and that's their job. But actually, you get a sense of pride from WYSIWYG and doing it as we have it here with the free Wargear and lock squad sizes. Yeah, that's it. That works. I don't know if Ripper Swarms are toughness 2 or toughness 3. They might have gone back to toughness 2. I'm not sure. Haven't fought Ripper Swarms in a while. Or at least not to the point where I can actually shoot them. They were always up in a corner doing an action. Yeah. Leman Russ tank, Leman Russ person in quotation marks. That's right. That is the correct way. Absolutely. Yeah, we're falling back on a sense of pride and accomplishment. I painted a really cool Magos model. I'm going to use it in my army. Doesn't matter if it's not good. Oh dear. So we can have pride that we're using the auto pistols on the acolytes even when hand flamers are objectively better. And we can have lore accurate Imperial Guard sergeants with las pistols rather than everyone having bolt pistols or plasma pistols. This is definitely the best one. Proxy the Magos as a canoness. Good work. What did I proxy her? Oh, I didn't include her. Oh no, I did. What did I include them as? I think I included them as a locus. That can work. Don't do WYSIWYG because I actually messed up termagants, giving them 1 of each different weapon. I mean, that's cool looking. So it's fine that you don't quite follow it. Nobody can cheese themselves to squads of 4 or 9. Yeah, that was really annoying. That was really annoying when it's like, oh, I have 6 Terminators, therefore I'm at the worst possible choice to have for Blast and things in 9th edition. Or if you had, all of it was like around, you need a squad of at least 5 models to do this. So people were like, I have 5 models, that's it, that's the squad, no more ever. Because that's all you needed for secondary actions, that was the minimum. Yeah. Play Solar Auxiliary, play Militia. They can be fun for 30k, absolutely. Oh. Okay, we've been going for 2 hours now, so last one. Let's see what the next one is. Last one, and then that'll be it for today, and then I will do even more unpopular opinions. Yeah, that can work. Okay, that's a perfectly fine one. Giving tip money to Von Carmian is a bad idea. So you can if you want now that we're at the end of the live stream. But of course you shouldn't. You absolutely shouldn't. You should not go to the description, click on the one that's Ko-Fi/Von Carmian VTuber, and then provide a tiny amount of tip money. This is the worst thing. Exactly. It's a terrible idea. Assuming you were talking about this. Terrible idea. I'm only going to spend it on stupid things like AdMech Extendo legs. Yes, nobody do the cool
just
thing.
Tipped 3 nope, super unpopular.
Thank you. Thank you for the 3 money. It's super unpopular. You know, that's like 1 out of 40 people. So we're definitely in the realm of this is an unpopular opinion. Or maybe that's why I shouldn't be defending it. I mean, what's he going to do? I know this Von Carmian dude. He's just going to spend it on like food and paint and maybe some models. And then he's going to, I don't know, do some extra VTubing stuff and spend some money on that. It's so silly. Imagine if he got a whole nother VTuber model just to have an extra character in a future video, hypothetically speaking. New model for Christmas? Maybe a model of sorts. But I don't just want to keep upgrading the model every single time. The tall boy in pain for itself, yeah. I'm happy with the models I've got, and at the moment I'm like, the idea of going back to Blender and doing even more models, Blender is not great. Oh dear.
Alex Sharkbite just tipped 10, make it popular.
You're gonna make it popular.
Dot.
I love the kitty. I love the kitty face. Thank you very much for the 10 monies. Yes, so now we're on 150% of the £50 for the AdMech Extendo legs. Random arbitrary goal. The next thing I'll have to do is like just food money. That'll be my next thing. Because although we're getting more ads, it doesn't actually mean I'm getting that much extra money from YouTube. So I should still be okay for money-wise. Yeah, I made the model in Blender. Or at least there's a lot of modifications that happen in Blender. It's just a pain of a thing to do. Well, we're coming to the end now. Yeah, so Christmas, I'll be fine at Christmas. I'll just change the next goal that you may see if you look at the Ko-Fi page in future. It'll be like food money for November. And I'll make sure I get all my food money in so I can live. Because you see, this became my job. I lost my job. My actual like human work job. That is because it's not like I said to my boss, hey, you're not a real fan unless you read all the Horus Heresy books, and then kicked her out a window. It's just that it was a renewing contract thing, and they renewed it for so long, and then they renewed it for half the time, and then again for half the time, and eventually it ran out. So money is appreciated, but tip money and ad money is how I am living my life right now. So I'll be fine. Thanks for covering your points. I hope they weren't too painful to defend. Thank you very much for the United States money. That is $5 cowboy dollars. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Yes, and I always get more money from tips than I do from ad revenue. That's been a thing the whole time. Yeah. So yeah, it was just the contract ran out, and then they were like, yeah, we're downsizing, so we're not renewing your contract, and it doesn't count as firing, so there's no severance, so it kind of sucks.
Sucrose 10 just tipped 3.
That's just the little thing catching up. Oh, that's a new thing. That's a new thing, actually. Oh, there's so many pings happening. Wonderful. Ah, 411 is the dollars. And thank you for the 3 money, Sucrose 10. That's very nice of you. Yeah, 40k ad money revenue is not enough. So where can we add options for the next streams? Okay, when I schedule the next Unpopular Opinion stream, then I will do a thing in the Discord to say, hey, you can get in on this and add more things there. Ooh, thank you again for the 5 monies. That is greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you. And you did it anonymously, so that's totally fine. I would thank you if I knew your name, but I'm thanking you anyway. Thank you. Tier list for doubles allies. It's a thought. It's a thought. If you are in my Loyal Legionary, which is a renewing thing for every month, you just pay me £10 and I do a video of your choice. So if you wanted that, that can work. Otherwise, it depends if I'm doing it narratively in lore or a tier list of allies for doubles tournaments in terms of winning. And then do I do it for Genestealer Cult or Battle Sisters? Oh, we'll see. We'll see. I still do have a lot of these Unpopular Opinions to do. So next time I do a live stream, it'll be an Unpopular Opinion live stream. And in the Discord, there'll be a place where you can add more options. Ko-Fi is like Patreon, but I get a much better cut than with Patreon. It's something like 99% rather than 70%. So Ko-Fi is like Patreon, but better. In terms of how much of the money you're giving to me actually comes to me. So yeah. Also, I'll probably do a community tab thing. So Discord link is in the description. The community tab, you will be able to see it and it'll pop up in your general YouTubey things as long as you're subscribed, which I assume all 30 to 40 of you must already be. That. Yes. Okay. This is where I'm going to end it for today. Thank you very much for coming. There will be a new video, I expect, tomorrow. Maybe there'll be something cool for us in the reveal that Games Workshop's doing in 10 hours. But if not, I'll have a very nice thing about Battle Sisters, Genestealer Cult, or something crazy that's fun as well. Thank you all for coming. This is gonna be the ending scream. Scream. I keep saying scream. Don't scream. Nobody scream. Have a great day, my darlings and viewers.